Welcome to the Content Amplified podcast, brought to you by Masset. Our goal is to help you get more from your marketing content. Each episode is a 10 to 15 minute interview with industry experts that share amazing insights to help you squeeze as much juice from your content as you possibly can. Here's today's interview.
Welcome back to another episode of Content Amplified. Today I'm joined by Bruce. Bruce, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate the invite.
You bet. Bruce, I'm excited for the subject. I'm excited to dive in, but quickly, let's get to know you a little bit. I'd love to ask, what do you love about content and marketing? And then also catch us up on your career and what you've been up to in your career.
Sure. What do I love about content and marketing? For me, it's kind of that fine line of it can be educational and entertaining. And I love finding kind of that sweet spot. For me as a marketer, I always kind of equate it as, if you want to try to get kids to eat their vegetables and whatnot, you can't just, put a spoon in their mouth. You got to make the airplane sounds to make them want to eat that. And that's what I feel like good content marketing is. It's like, it's good for you, but you're also, enjoying, learning something or getting information out of it. So yeah, I've been doing this for, I've been in advertising about 20 years and in social media the last, half of that, last 10 or 12 years here, especially on the social media side. So yeah, as you're probably going to be able to tell here as we get talking, I love what I do. I get pretty excited and passionate about it. So I'm excited about the chance to talk about it.
I love it. This will be a fun conversation. So Bruce, when we're talking about the subject today, what we're really going to focus on is how and why you should consider prioritizing video content. So let's kind of dissect that question and that subject real quick. Why? Why is video important nowadays, and why should we consider maybe putting more of an emphasis on that space? Yeah,
no, it's a great question. And like video, everyone keeps hearing it's video. It's, I think of the old Brady Bunch, Marsha. I'm sure static assets are feeling like Jan Brady right now. It's what the social platforms in particular and the algorithms are prioritizing. And so, the way I kind of look at it, it's probably because we're all distracted viewers, right? I mean, we're on multiple social media platforms. We're watching TV with, our phone, right by the side of us while we're also maybe cooking dinner or something. Like, you're usually not just doing one thing. And so video really is the way where it's like you're able to reach people, whether they're focused on you or if they're just listening to you, or it's perfect for the distracted viewer. I think that's one of the big reasons why we've seen such a push on video here. Is because you can hold the attention longer and, in different ways. So, that's pretty much why at this point you have to focus on video here if you're going to be in the social space. Otherwise, I kind of jokingly say you're going to be swimming against the stream and against the current rather than with it, because the platforms organically and through paid are going to want to put more video in front of people's eyeballs rather than static assets. So you may as well swim with the current. It's going to be easier on you.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So when we're looking at video, there's various kinds of videos and various budget levels and things of that nature. How do we start to think about video? I mean, a lot of times people will say, well, you just hold up your iPhone and just get started and just do something. But I don't know if those days are past, but like you said, it's got to be educational. It's got to be entertaining. There's got to be value. It can't just be video for video's sake. How do we start to approach video, and where are the opportunities there?
Yeah, it definitely needs to have a purpose. Like, there's a time and a place for quick video, content and whatnot. But I feel it's important. You don't necessarily need to do a video quick, but you need to do it right. And so for me, like, thought is like video tends to be the reason people aren't able to put out as much videos. It can be more expensive, to produce this. So that's why for me, I'm like, yeah, again, you're going to see, I love my old timey sayings. And so like something that I always preach with, like, with our teams and with our clients is, measure twice, cut once, kind of a thing. So if you're going to produce a video, don't just produce one video and then be done with it. Like, especially if your team is small, it's like our time and our dollars are finite. So, do more planning at the forefront. So that way you can figure out, how do we maybe want to write a few different versions of this and then do some edits of this. So instead of producing one video now in one place, you can have multiple edits here. And think of all the places you can use this video. It's multiple social platforms, on your website, in your newsletters, any of these places. If you can think through that at the forefront, and do a little bit more planning, you can just shoot that once and you've already, a few of the different edits you want. And now suddenly you have way more opportunities with this one video that, by rights can become, 12, 13, 14 videos, if you do it right from the start.
Yeah, I love that. So I think sometimes when we talk about video as well, we really focus on either the high-end production, really expensive side, or the zero cost shot on my iPhone kind of a concept. But typically for businesses, it's somewhere in the middle. What are some of the typical routes that you see businesses nowadays using for video production? Is it freelancers, consultants, in-house? How does that work? And how do I find a really good exchange of value and quality for my money?
Yeah, and this landscape has changed so much from like the early days, of social, on the agency side, where a lot of times, we would come in as an agency partner and we would do all of the organic social, and then when paid became a thing, paid as well. Now you've definitely seen a shift over the years where a lot of brands and a lot of organizations have someone doing social in-house. Sometimes they've got a team, multiple teams usually contributing to that, but then it's a large sandbox. So then you've got a lot of times where you also have agency partners and freelance partners that are like, okay, this area of it might be the brand side. We can help with organic, brand content or paid, video content. And so you're starting to see now you've got multiple partners, and it does allow brands to flex here and there as well, where it's like, okay, we need some extra help over here. Now we'll, bring in this partner. So I think you're seeing a lot more of that. And part of why I think you're able to do that is because there is a range of, sometimes you need that super polished video that you're going on a commercial shoot and you've got a whole big crew and that has a purpose, definitely. But there's also a lot of times where, look at TikTok, for example, where sometimes too much polish it's a turnoff, to the audiences. It really depends on who you're talking to and where and what the subject matter is. But there's a lot of times where a really nice iPhone camera or other camera obviously suffices, and you can do good, cut downs that ways too. And for me, I'm like, I would rather even start there. If you're an organization that doesn't have the budgets to do the big commercial shoots, I'm like, something is better than nothing, because you can get learnings from that, see what people are connecting with. I love all the data you get and the insights and analytics from these platforms. You can see when people are all of a sudden dipping in viewing it, and you can start to see, is there a trend? Is it always at the same timestamp, or is there something happening on screen that people tuned out? Do we do better when we've got captions on here or not? Like, you get so many learnings just if you put something out there, even if it's kind of a middle of the road quality side of things, that then when you can't afford to do the big productions, you've got all these learnings and you can let those learnings drive then, all right, this really has to count because we've got more dollars, more people, and more eyeballs. So I feel like you have to tap into each of those as applicable, versus kind of the one size fits all. Either all of them are these scrappy videos or all of these are these super polished Hollywood looking things.
Yeah, I like the concept of testing your content, not being afraid to put it out there. I think a lot of times we'll create content, say it's not good enough, and then we never publish it. And honestly, sometimes it is. Sometimes it gives us those insights, but unless you publish it, there's no chance that video is going to give you any value at all in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. And like for me, I also love to see, like, you always you've got a hypothesis on, even if you're going to have a few different cut downs of this, you're producing it primarily for, this, one or two platforms that you really think it's going to perform best. But it's nice then when you have some of those other cut downs. I think of something if you're producing a TikTok video or Instagram Reels, but then if you're still having like a cut down stories version of it, for instance, that's a chance where you can test a few other things. That's where you can start having link stickers or like have a poll on that as well and see, okay, how are people engaging with this? Sometimes they engage way more with kind of one of those secondary or tertiary placements where you're like, oh, this is just kind of a nice to be here and try something else. And you get learnings from that and you realize there's a real opportunity in this area too. You take those learnings and now suddenly that drives the thinking on the next video. So for me, I love that, where it's like they all can serve a purpose and you get those, it's like Bob Ross used to say, no mistakes, just happy little accidents. And sometimes you have those where it's like, oh, this is great. We weren't even going to put something on this platform and we got a nice little learning from it here that we had people tuning in way longer or way more clicks come out of this. So maybe we should actually prioritize, this platform or this placement. And that suddenly drives all new thinking and opportunities down the road.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird to quote a YouTuber right now, but obviously he understands a little bit about video. But Mr. Beast, I listened to an interview from him once where he said, you need to publish 100 videos before you expect any results, because your first video is going to be terrible. The second one's going to be terrible. But if you let yourself get slowly better, by video 100, you might have a handful of views. And then that's kind of really the starting point. And the same thing I've seen with the podcast and everything that we do in content and marketing. If you're not willing to stick with it, and especially with video, just be comfortable publishing content and learning from it and moving on. Give yourself like a buffer of 100 videos, or else you're just not going to see any results. Do you see the same thing on your end of things?
Absolutely. And again, we have to remember that, audiences are getting like literally thousands of posts in their feeds every day, kind of thing. So even if I'm the same way where I'm like, I want to make sure it's the greatest thing that's going up, but it's like, well, no, it's again, progress, not perfection, right? So put something out there, put your best foot forward, but even something that's not the greatest at the start is better than nothing. And the thing is, like, in time, if now you start to build up an audience after those, 100, after those 1,000, videos, you can go back and now find things where it's like, okay, now I think this would resonate with an audience that we've amassed. You can redo that video. Like the same 7 stories have been told since the start of time. It's how do you kind of tell it slightly differently? It's now you can go back and now you can edit that and reshoot it in a different way or re-edit it in a different way, tell a more relevant story now. But it doesn't mean because you put that out, 1,000 videos ago when no one was looking at it, that you can't now revisit some aspect of that might actually resonate with people now. So that's why for me, I'm always like, yep, progress, not perfection. Just get learnings from it. You're dealing with algorithms and people and their fast thumbs. Like, so just because someone didn't watch it in the beginning, it doesn't mean they might not watch it down the road, and so sometimes it's a numbers game, like that. Yeah. Just keep moving forward though, the whole time versus just kind of being like, oh, what if we would have done that one video?
Yeah. I love that. So something that's really timely, and it'll be kind of a curveball question for you, so hopefully you don't mind. AI. So I am finally starting to see little videos, 10-second clips that look pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on AI with video? Where is it going to go? How do we start to leverage it? When is it productive? I'm not asking you to pull out the magic 8 ball, but like, what does this look like?
Yeah, I think so. AI is so much like any kind of tech that we've seen, where you see this great expand and then a contract. Where right now everyone's trying to AI everything. So that's one thing, and then so you're kind of getting AI fatigue from people also just tired of hearing about it. You also get people that are afraid of what might be happening out there, and they're really turned off by AI video. I again try to find myself hang in the middle for now. Let's see. Where they're going with things. The video quality is getting phenomenal. Sometimes good, sometimes scary. But we also have to, gauge the pulse of the audiences and what they want on it too. So for me, I'm like, everything we keep hearing is like AI is at its best when it's not like replacing a thing or being the thing, but it's better if it's kind of under the hood, and it's helping, tune up certain things, or it's helping drive efficiencies in areas, or getting learnings where it's like, we just wouldn't have gotten that beforehand. So I think that's what I think everyone's trying to kind of figure out, where is it going to go and what's the comfort level of how people want to, end up using this. And I think that's when then you're finally going to get, a lot more like, okay, this is how we're going to adopt and use this. The one of the things I get super excited about with AI right now with video is like, one of the big issues we have is, when you're shooting video, it's like, oh man, am I going to shoot horizontally or vertically? There's so many placements to go. And I wish we all had the luxury to have all these cameras and shoot all different ways and edits. It's just not, what happens a lot of times. So then it's like, okay, if we're going to shoot vertically and then we have to kind of tighten in, it's like, then you're like, it's getting pixelated. I'm loving what I'm seeing from like generative fill with AI right now, where you can take, if you've got a lockdown camera, it's getting so much better now where, now suddenly you can kind of extend the top and bottom. If you want to use it vertically, like that's opening up now where it's like, I feel like that's the sweet spot of AI, where you're not like trying to create a whole video from scratch, or you're not trying to trick someone into, this is real, even though it's not. This is where it's more of like, it's helping, where it's like, we've already got this video content. Now we're just kind of helping fill out the rest of the space. So now it works in these multiple places. So that's kind of where I've been more excited about the opportunities, where I think that's going to help make us like a little bit more efficient in what we do and be multiple places, and so, yeah, that's where I'm especially excited right now. But yeah, I'm really going to be curious, and I mean, it's changed so much in the last 3 or 4 months of what it looks like. I can only imagine now in the next 3 or 4 months.
Bruce, I promise these episodes go by quick. Thank you so much for the insights.
Absolutely.
There's a lot to unpack with video, and I think that it is awesome what you've shared with us. If anyone wants to connect with you online, how and where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much on all the socials, but probably LinkedIn is pretty easy. You can find me on there. Just search my name, Bruce Dierbeck. Otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty much on all the social channels. So I'm pretty easy to find. Add B to the D is usually what I end up using for my various handles. So I love talking shop. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out to talk a little bit more about this. And I appreciate the opportunity here, Ben. It literally felt like we were talking for about 2 minutes here. So I had a blast.
Yep, likewise. Well, Bruce, we'll also link to your profile in the show notes. So anyone listening to this to connect with Bruce, just click on the link in the description. And Bruce, again, thanks for your time and insights today.
Fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Content Amplified podcast. Please subscribe and leave us a review. And for additional ways to get more out of your content, visit our website at getmasset.com. That's getmasset.com. And tune in next time to the Content Amplified podcast.